Caution, one lap and we'll be back to green. Tomorrow night, Honda prelude to a championship at 9 Eastern time, and then the NCAA championship basketball game. The Duke Blue Devils against the UConn Huskies Monday night on CBS Sports. Trouble on Ted Musgrave's car. He goes back behind the wall.
Yeah, he backed all the way down pit road. He had some kind of problem. Now they're behind the wall. Steve Park just come in and the crew had to grab him. He has no brakes on that car.
Dick Berggren.
Mark Martin has just climbed back into his race car. He's declined conversation. This car is thoroughly torn up. They are going to change the right front spindle. He hit so hard there is concrete stuck in the wheel. Let's see if we can grab Jack Roush for a minute. Is this car repairable?
Well, we can get it back out there. We can't win the race with it. We've certainly hurt ourselves as far as points are concerned. This is a day when a lot of people are having trouble, and you have an opportunity to avoid the trouble or to capitalize on it, and now we're part of the same trouble.
Now they're working hard on it. They're going to get it out if they possibly can, but this will be a long stop behind the wall as they try to beat the fenders out and change this right front spindle. Mike?
This would only be the second time this year, Dick, that Mark Martin has finished outside the top 10. He has one win in the 5 races so far. Getting set to go back to the green, Terry Labonte, Ward Burton up there.
And he's technically on the lead lap. He's at the tail end of the lead lap race car, so he might be able to stay out there. However, Terry Labonte is leading the race, and he also has a very fast race car. But what Ward would like to do is hope for a caution pretty early, but his car didn't go through turns 1 and 2 very good.
You can see Terry Labonte wants to put this fast race car of Ward Burton a lap down as he makes a charge on him going into turn 3.
Now what happened? Ward Burton was a lap down when they came to the caution flag. Then all the lead lap cars pitted, so that puts Burton on the tail end of the lead lap until just now.
Yeah, his car's pushing up a little bit in the corners with those new tires on it, and it's going to take a few laps to get the car settled down in the tires to where they suit him, so that he can run the speeds that he was running before he went into the pits.
Well, just behind him there in the green car, that's his brother Bobby Labonte running along in second place, and in third place, Tony Stewart.
Tony had a great pit stop.
Yeah, Greg Zipadelli is another one of those New England crew chiefs suddenly burst on the Winston Cup scene. And here's Jerry Nadeau trying to get a lap back from the leader.
Yeah,
just ahead of Stewart.
He had made a green flag pit stop. He is 2 laps down, but now will only be 1 lap down. Does that open the door for Ward Burton to go by as well as we ride with Tony Stewart?
Tony Stewart gaining on Bobby Labonte, going down in the corner there. You can see him closing right on in. As far as bravery, there's not one person braver than the man you're riding with right at this moment.
Ward Burton underneath Terry Labonte. Get that lap back as you watch it from Tony Stewart's car. And here's now Terry and Bobby Labonte now running nose to tail 1-2.
Dale Jarrett now looking to the inside of Tony Stewart down the back straightaway.
Takes the spot away, so Jarrett moves up to third, and that makes him the first Ford in the race behind this Chevy and Pontiac. Ralph?
Mike, brothers will be brothers and boys will be boys on every one of the cautions when Terry Labonte is out in front of little brother Bobby while they're weaving around getting ready to go back to green. Bobby waits, or Terry waits a little bit, then he kind of moves over, gets a good shot at Bobby and throws his water cup out the window so that it splashes all over Bobby's window.
Kid stuff.
They better watch it. Big Bob, their daddy, will be right in there to tell them not to do that anymore too.
I saw him down in the garage area, so he is here. Their dad, Bob.
Well, there's a lot of money at stake here and a lot of money being spent. Racing has become big business, but that helps us remember it's a sport, and folks, it's a game. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, that looks like to me that Dale Jarrett has picked it up quite a bit. You see him right on the back bumper of the green car there, Bobby Labonte. He's moving in on these guys.
I'm sure they made some adjustments on his Ford during that last pit stop.
Well, he's been fighting a pushing problem all day long. It looks like right now this car is tracking very well. He looks to the outside of Bobby Labonte down the front straightaway.
Labonte back down into turn 1. Jarrett looking just a little lower. Now here is Tony Stewart. And looking back from that number 20, you see Rusty Wallace looming large. And Wallace is coming pulling down on Stewart.
He is, and he's another one that had a great pit stop, Mike, as his crew always performs good pit stops. He's received the threesome up front here right now. But Rusty Wallace, yes, he is coming as Bobby wants to lead from his brother, but couldn't quite make the pass. I think Dale Jarrett led a lap there just as the caution came out. In fact, he's pitted past the start-finish line. We said he hadn't led since Daytona, but he led on pit road, really, because Terry Labonte is pitted before you get to the start-finish line. Terry was leading the race, and so when DJ went across the start-finish line, which goes all the way across pit road, well, then that did let him lead a lap.
227 laps complete. Terry and Bobby Labonte, the two Texas natives, lead the field here at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Texas. Here's the best battle on the racetrack. Rusty Wallace went into turn 1 outside Tony Stewart, goes into turn 3 under Tony Stewart, makes the pass.
Rusty is fast right now. He's the fastest we've seen him all day.
Ned, I keep talking about, we go in the garage area so much to talk to these guys and find out, and the jackman for this team today said, Rusty Wallace, we'll see you in winner's circle today.
That's Earl Barbin said that. All but guaranteed it. Ralph?
Mike, one other thing Rusty said this week is, the rules in Winston Cup racing now are much closer to the way they were back in 1993 and 94. That's important for Rusty because in those 2 seasons, he won a total of 18 races. The big difference is the aerodynamic packages on these cars are so different from 93, 94 that the downforce is different, and everything they knew then does not factor into how you set the cars up anymore. So what did Rusty do? He packed up his crew. He headed down to Greenville-Pickens Speedway in South Carolina this past week and put in over 200 laps of testing just to get ready for this race. And as you can see, it's paying off.
Wallace coming to the front. He's at 4th place. Trying to close on Dale Jarrett. Still got a ways to go to get there. At the front of the field, just in front of leader Terry Labonte, and there is Labonte. The 2 cars just in front of him are holding their breath. Jerry Nadeau and Ward Burton, who led a good part of this race, they are hoping for a caution flag because Labonte would have to slow for the pace car and they could come all the way around back on that lead lap. They're in the tail end of the lead lap right now.
Yeah, and Ward Burton, it hadn't been that long since he was leading. Jeff Burton has dropped off the pace just a little bit.
Yeah, 2 or 3 cars went by him, buddy, in the last 2 laps here. So is there something wrong with the point leader, the younger of the brothers from South Boston, Virginia?
Or is he being very cagey right now?
That might be the case. After his teammate Mark Martin got into the wall, he might be just cooling it a little bit right now. He's not that far behind the leaders. He's still in contention. He's in 8th place. He's about 5 seconds behind.
Riding with the Budweiser camera on Wally Dallenbach's Chevrolet. Past Rick Mast, whose car was battered up in one of those accidents. Dallenbach right now in 9th place. Looking for his first top 10 finish of the season.
Boy, he was all the way on the straightaway before he got wide open. Then car's pushing just a little bit up out of turn 2 there. You can see him getting very close to the wall.
We understand that Ernie Irvin has lost a cylinder, running on 7 cylinders now. Ernie had made a green flag pit stop before the caution came out, so he's one of those drivers that got caught a lap down. In fact, he's being shown 2 laps down now, back in the 28th position.
Out of the race, Kenny Wallace, Randy LaJoie, Kevin LePage, Mike Skinner, and Jeff Gordon. Kenny Wallace, though, tabbed for relief duty by Bobby Hamilton. Hamilton overcome by exhaust fumes in the car. They tried to put Randy LaJoie in the car, but he would not fit in the custom-made seat. So Kenny Wallace is aboard the number 4 car. Back at the front, still Jerry Nadeau in that blue number 9. Road racer out of Connecticut and Ward Burton try to hold off race leader Terry Labonte.
On the lead lap, but they're running very, very hard. If the yellow comes out, they'll get the circle all the way back around and they'll be back in contention again. That's why they're running in front of the leaders, not just pulling over and let them go.
Dick Berggren?
Well, I just had an interesting conversation with Frankie Stoddard. He is the crew chief for 99. Jeff Burton, who's currently running in 8th spot. And I said, how is the car running? He said, the car is fine, but we have made a decision to finish the race. And I said, is this crashing stuff because of tires? What's going on here? And he looked me straight in the eye and he said, they are just running too darn hard. And he didn't say darn.
The full speed for this race was a full 5 miles miles an hour faster than last year. Record speeds when we are under green flag racing here.
They run awfully fast on this racetrack, no doubt.
Frankie Stoddard is big picture racing. They're thinking point lead, which they have, and championship, which they'd love to have, by backing off Jeff Burton just a bit. 241 laps complete. CBS Sports coverage of the Texas 500 will continue after this message and a word from your local CBS station.
CBS Sports coverage of the Texas 500 is sponsored by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. And by Nike.
.246 laps complete here at Texas Motor Speedway. Terry Labonte, his brother Bobby out front. They are the two drivers who hail from the Lone Star State. Neither has won here. Dale Jarrett running in third. Rusty Wallace up for fourth, and rookie Tony Stewart is fifth. There's a look at Wallace, who's climbed to fourth. 246 laps. 9 different drivers have led this race. Mark Martin 7 times for 63 laps. 19 lead changes. Average speed has been slowed by 7 caution flags to 137 miles per hour. 8 cars in the garage or off the track. Dick Bergman?
Rusty Wallace is running well right now, but he's had 2 really tough weeks, finishing 35th and 33rd, respectively. His crew chief is Robin Pemberton. He's got a nice seat up here to watch everything. What are you guys going to do for the very tail end of the race to pull it out of the water?
They'll be long enough to just do 4 tires. Hopefully we won't have to adjust on the car anymore. We've done a lot of that already.
You fast enough to win this thing?
Pardon me?
Can you get fast enough to win this thing?
I can't hear what you're saying.
Can you get fast enough to win?
Yeah, it's going to be close, but this is the best we've been in a long time, you know. We started off a little tight. We had to loosen up quite a bit, so we're going to give them a run if we can.
They sure are. These guys aren't going to give up either. Mike?
The buddies notice he's running a little different line around the racetrack than some of the fellows that are up front.
Well, you know, when Rusty won at Charlotte, he found a place on the racetrack that he could really get the maximum out of his car. He's running a little high on the racetrack. Ned and I have noticed that, but it's getting the job done with this car. Just hope he's not leaning on that right front tire too much. You see him kind of diamond the corner, go up the racetrack almost to the brake part there in the center of the corner.
He's searching around for different grooves to try to get a place that's comfortable and one that he can run faster speeds at. You see there, that's a little bit higher than the others are running. He's a good car width off of that bottom line.
And Ned, his last lap, 180.8 miles an hour. Terry Labonte, 180.1. So right now, Rusty Wallace is the fastest car on the racetrack. Now, Ward Burton is still out in front of Terry Labonte. Jerry Nadeau has been passed by the leader, but Burton is hanging on to the tail end of the lead lap.
Yeah, we were just talking now. You have a lap car there. That's Rick Mast, who was in a wreck not long ago. But you see Terry Labonte right on that white line through the corner. Now, his car's working there, so he's going to stay there because that is the preferred line. But sometimes the driver has to regulate where he runs on the racetrack to what the car wants.
Ward Burton running in 22nd position, the last car on the lead lap.
Now, it's hard to believe that the driver who led a good section of this race is now in 22nd, and the car is just as fast as it was. But Burton made a green flag pit stop just before Mark Martin's caution came out, and thus he ended up on the tail end of the lead lap because the rest of the teams could pit under the caution. He had pitted under the green. So he's trying to hold off Terry Labonte. Here's a look at Dale Earnhardt.
Hey, he's up to 11th place and just in there fighting.
And that's Steve Park just behind him. Dale Earnhardt's team owns the #1 car there. They build it at Dale Earnhardt's shop there right in Mooresville, North Carolina.
Remember, Earnhardt said at the top of the day, he says, we're really going to have to work on this thing. Didn't qualify well, haven't practiced too well. He says, but we can keep adjusting on it. They've adjusted him up to 11th place. And just ahead of him, that green car is Chad Little, who's in the top 10 today in one of the Jack Roush Fords.
Exactly. And Chad Little had a great run here last year in that particular race car there, the 97.
They're running about 10.5 seconds behind the leader, Terry Labonte.
Chad Little finished second here last year, a career best. There's leader Terry Labonte. 80 laps to go. here at Texas Motor Speedway, the 3rd annual Texas 500. We'll be right back.
We're back with you at the Texas Motor Speedway. $4 million.